You walk into IKEA looking for one thing: a desk, a lamp, maybe a bookshelf, a simple 5-minute purchase. Or at least, that's what you expected. But somehow, 30 minutes later, you're still walking. You've passed bedrooms, living rooms, kitchens, storage solutions, plants, candles, and products you never intended to buy. So here's the question: why? Why would a company make it harder for customers to find what they're looking for? Why build a store that feels like a maze? Why force people to walk through hundreds of products before reaching the one item they came for? The answer is simple: because getting lost is part of the business model. In fact, IKEA may be one of the most carefully engineered retail environments on Earth. Every hallway, every corner, every showroom, every shortcut was designed with a purpose. Not to help you leave faster, but to keep you inside longer. And the longer you stay, the more likely you are to spend money. Today, millions of people visit IKEA stores every year. Most arrive with a plan, but many leave with far more than they expected. And that's not an accident, because IKEA understands something most retailers don't. If you can control a customer's journey, you can influence their decisions. And IKEA's journey begins the moment you walk through the front door. Because unlike most stores, IKEA doesn't want you to shop, it wants you to explore. And that's where the trap begins. The first thing most customers notice is the path, a long, winding route that moves through nearly every department. Unlike a traditional store, you rarely have complete freedom. Instead, the building gently guides you, room after room, display after display, section after section. At first, it feels helpful, but hidden inside this design is a powerful psychological principle, the Gruen Effect. Named after architect Victor Gruen, the Gruen Effect occurs when customers enter a carefully designed shopping environment and gradually lose focus on their original intention. They stop thinking about what they came to buy and start reacting to what they see around them. That's exactly what IKEA wants, because every room inside the store tells a story. A perfectly organized bedroom, a cozy living room, a modern office, a beautiful kitchen. Customers aren't simply looking at furniture, they're imagining a better version of their lives. And imagination is one of the most powerful sales tools ever created. A chair becomes more than a chair. A desk becomes more than a desk. A couch becomes more than a couch. Each product becomes part of a future lifestyle, a future home, a future identity. And once customers begin imagining that future, buying starts to feel emotional instead of logical. But IKEA's strategy goes even further, because the company doesn't only control where you walk, it also controls your perception of time. Think about the last time you visited IKEA. Did you notice many windows? Did you see clocks everywhere? Probably not, and that's intentional. IKEA removes many of the visual cues people normally use to track time. No constant view of the outside world, no reminders of how long you've been shopping, no urgency pushing you toward the exit. As a result, customers often stay far longer than they originally planned. Minutes become harder to measure, and time begins to disappear. The longer customers remain inside the store, the more products they encounter, and every additional product creates another opportunity to spend money. But IKEA isn't finished, because while customers are slowly losing track of time, they're also making decisions, lots of decisions. Should I buy this lamp? Do I need new shelves? Would this look better in my apartment? Should I replace my old desk? Maybe I should buy new storage boxes too. Each decision seems small, almost insignificant, but together they create something psychologists call decision fatigue. The more decisions people make, the harder it becomes to think critically. Mental energy starts to decline, comparisons become harder, self-control becomes weaker, and impulse purchases become more likely. This is where IKEA becomes especially effective, because by the time customers reach the middle of the store, they've already made dozens of tiny decisions. Their brains are tired, and tired brains look for easy answers. Buying becomes easier than analyzing. Spending becomes easier than resisting. That's why many customers end up purchasing items they never planned to buy, not because they're irrational, but because they're human, and IKEA understands human behavior extremely well. Then there are the shortcuts. If you've ever visited IKEA, you've probably seen them. Small pathways designed to help customers skip sections of the store. At least that's what it looks like. But surprisingly, most shoppers never use them. Why? Because humans naturally follow the path already placed in front of them. The main route feels comfortable, safe, simple. People tend to continue moving forward rather than changing direction. So even when shortcuts exist, most customers keep walking through the maze, past more products, past more displays, past more temptations. Every extra minute inside the store increases the chances of another purchase, and IKEA knows it. But perhaps the most powerful moment happens near the very end, the warehouse. After spending nearly an hour walking through beautiful showrooms, customers finally arrive at rows of flat-packed furniture, massive shelves, boxes stacked to the ceiling. And psychologically, something important has already happened. By now, customers have invested time, attention, energy. They've imagined products inside their homes, they've compared options, they've planned purchases in their minds. Walking away empty-handed suddenly feels difficult, not because they need the products, but because they already invested so much into the experience. Psychologists call this the sunk cost effect. The more time people invest into something, the harder it becomes to leave without a reward, even when that reward costs money. IKEA benefits from this every single day. Customers arrive intending to buy one thing, but after spending an hour inside the maze, leaving with nothing feels like a waste. So they buy, and often they buy more than they planned. But IKEA's genius doesn't come from forcing people to spend money. It comes from making spending feel natural. The company doesn't need aggressive salespeople. It doesn't need constant pressure. Instead, it creates an environment where customers guide themselves toward purchases. Every hallway, every showroom, every carefully designed room, every hidden shortcut, every product placement works together toward a single goal: keeping customers engaged for as long as possible. Because IKEA understands a simple truth: people don't make decisions in isolation. They make decisions based on their environment. And when you control the environment, you can influence the decision. Today, IKEA operates hundreds of stores across the world, welcomes millions of visitors every year, and generates billions of dollars in revenue. Not simply because it sells furniture, but because it understands psychology better than most companies ever will. IKEA was never just selling bookshelves, or desks, or couches. It was selling an experience, a journey, a carefully engineered path. A path designed to keep you moving, keep you exploring, and keep you spending. So the next time you walk into IKEA looking for one thing, pay attention. Because if you start feeling lost, you might be exactly where IKEA wants you to be. Getting lost was never a mistake. It was always part of the plan.